Saw the story in the Herald. A community group in Kings County says it's time to get asbestos disposal sites out of Nova Scotia's backyards. Joining me to talk about all of this is Kip McCurdy, who lives less than a kilometer downhill from one of these sites, the Arlington Heights C&D site. Kip, thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm very good, Todd.
Excellent, excellent. So, how many do we know sites like this C&D site are around the province?
I think there are about a dozen. There are only 7 that are listed, but there are also some other sites that aren't official, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So this particular company and others like it, they're just contractors? Like, how does it all happen? How did they get regulated or whatever, licensed to dispose of this stuff?
They are private business people who apply for the opportunity to dispose of hazardous waste, in this case asbestos.
Yeah.
Usually it is associated with a previously established C&D operation.
Okay. So what type of regulations are in place when it comes to regulations, licensing? What are the requirements?
Well, the application has to undergo a provincial environmental review, but we have discovered in our study of what happened at the Arlington Heights site that these reviews are largely window dressing. They're almost automatic rubber stamp approvals for these sites.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is that there is really an asbestos disposal emergency.
Right.
There are too many buildings coming down that need to get rid of this stuff. So, yeah, there isn't really due diligence on the part of the Department of Environment to ensure that the disposal sites approved are actually appropriate.
So what are they? Is it just a hole in the ground, shove it in and fill it in? Is that what's going on here, or is there some type of liner built or something? What's the deal with it?
When they removed the asbestos from the building site, it's packed in plastic bags, garbage bags.
Yeah.
Same as you would use in your house, except a little bit heavier weight. They truck it. In the case of Arlington, it's 175 kilometers to the small and vote poor community of Arlington. Then it's deposited in a hole that's dug in the ground previously. In the Arlington case, the site is actually a wetland that sources 3 brooks and the drinking water supply for a community further down the mountain.
Unreal.
So they dig a hole, and because the wetland aquifer is flowing below the surface, that hole will fill up with water. And in the process of depositing the bags of asbestos, it's all done by excavators, so you can imagine what the bags look like after they've been dumped off.
Yeah, just dust flying everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of loose asbestos in the disposal pit with the aquifer running right through it. So
unbelievable.
It's when the department approved all of this, I don't see how they could possibly have taken a close look at the situation. I think they just said, okay, we need another disposal area, so we're good to go.
Wow. So the Chronicle Herald story says a 2017 report, the Auditor General, Michael Pickup, found that the department had approved 53 of 54 projects that had applied for the assessment from 2013 to 16. Of the 22 projects examined by the Auditor General, approvals came with 675 terms and conditions required to be met by project owners. For almost half of the 53 terms and conditions tested by the Auditor General, The department didn't even monitor whether they happened or not or were met. I mean, there's not much else that we need to know that this is a reckless industry right now, based on what I'm just reading. What are your thoughts?
Well, either the department is so busy that they don't have time to do the job, or they're working to a different tune. Their mandate may be not so much environmental protection as it is industrial approval.
Well, either way, Kip, the result is the same. We have this problem. It's happening, right? So we need to deal with this. What type of traction are you getting? This sounds very serious to me.
It is very serious, and there's no question about the dangers of asbestos. The department is kind of living in the 19th century because the standards that they are working under have been more or less refuted by modern science.
Yeah.
But they believe that asbestos will not travel in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not true.
Yeah.
They also believe, or at least they enforce the regulations that say that asbestos, ingested asbestos, is not harmful to people.
Mm-hmm.
And those beliefs are both wrong, and the WHO, EPA, the National Institute of Health Centers for Disease Control, they all say the same thing, that ingested asbestos is in fact a potent human carcinogen.
Yep.
So you got that in the water, and you got the dust in the air, and it's just places like this are completely unsafe, and we need to do something different.
Yep. Well, I can assure you of this. All of these people that are making these assumptions or comments, whatever you want to call it, false statistics, if there's such a thing, which there isn't, I'm sure they wouldn't want to be dealing with it in their neighborhood upstream from where they live, right? It comes down to it?
No, I'm sure you're right about that.
Yep.
We have proposed a solution to this problem. And it may not be a perfect solution, but it's one that will deal with most of the issues for a while anyway.
Okay.
That the asbestos should be placed in containers at the job site. And those containers should be sealed.
Mm-hmm.
And you should establish a provincial owned and operated storage area. And probably the closer to HRM, the better, because that's the source of all this stuff. And you just store the containers there.
Yep.
That completely eliminates the problem of asbestos in your water, and it completely eliminates the problem of dust in the air. The only drawback is that eventually those containers will start to deteriorate.
Right.
I have no idea how long that would take.
Well, but still, it's better than what they're doing now, shoving it into a pit and garbage bags flying apart. I mean, that's ridiculous, obviously, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yep. Yep. Kip, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks for raising the awareness of all of this. We'll continue to track it and be in touch.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Todd.
Take care. Kip McCurdy lives in less than a kilometer from the Arlington Heights C&D site. It's funny, all these decision makers, right? It's okay to do that. I'll bet you the people who own this site don't own a property down the street, downstream. I'll bet they don't. It's funny how things all change, right? When you're not impacted or you are impacted, potentially. Then everything changes. But when you can just dig a big hole out in rural Nova Scotia somewhere and, there's a community downstream, whatever. I'm making my money. Bury it. Give me the contract. Province of Nova Scotia. Oh, the Auditor General says there's issues, should be monitored. Check on it. Now we're not looking. We're not even monitoring the industry. We just don't have the time. That's a wonderful policy. Great job. It's only asbestos. It's not bad for you, is it? Labor Day is Monday. Tomorrow we're going to cover Labor Day quite extensively. Today I want